Hey guys, it's Biggs. Welcome back. Today's video, we're going to be doing something honestly I've never done before. And it's going to be a reaction video, or maybe kind of a review video of the topic at hand that was in this video. Now some of you, I'm sure a lot of you, have probably seen a video that's gone somewhat viral. And it's a big YouTube guy. He does all sorts of stuff, no disrespect intended to the individual whatsoever. He has a huge channel, huge following, does a lot of stuff, and that's awesome for him, great. And this video was actually filmed at another well-respected YouTuber's place, a guy who runs a great business. And I've actually done live feeds with this individual, and I have nothing but the utmost respect for him as well. However, this video, the topic at hand that's in this video, I think needs to be addressed. So let's get to it. So the video in question that I'm talking about is the video of a gentleman down getting basically blindfolding himself, putting either a minnow or a smelt, and leaning over in an aquarium, a large aquarium, and feeding an Arapaima that way, and then it perceives that he gets knocked out. Now, if you see the video that surfaced it's been chopped up a bunch of times. It's all over TikTok, it's all over Facebook in different lengths, and it appears it's pretty graphic. People are thinking, oh, this guy got really, really hurt, really, really knocked out. But in actuality, the entire thing was faked. It was done as a stunt. And an Arapaima, this is a very, very large fish. This is a South American. It's a prehistoric giant. This thing's been around here for 1,000,000 years. It's probably possibly one of the absolute largest freshwater fishes in the world. And these things can get upwards of 500 pounds. These fish are heavily armored in their absolute entirety. And the species, it also has an extremely heavy and thick and bony skull. Their armor is actually strong enough to deflect arrows from the natives and savage bites of the piranhas, of which it shares its home waters with. They are a true gape and suck predator, and they have the speed and ability to be able to snatch small mammals or birds, maybe not small mammals because it's a giant thing, on low-hanging branches. Now, I actually was able to pull in an expert, a dear friend of mine that knows these fish really, really, really well. He's worked with these fish in the wild as well as in a public aquarium for 31 years. And I wanted to get his take because, honestly, I think this video, even though it was fake, it was extremely irresponsible. And the reason being is, now normally you would put out a video saying that's really irresponsible if it was something and say somebody could run down to the local pet store and do it, not knowing that it was faked and possibly hurt themselves. I don't think there's really many opportunities. Anybody else is going to be able to go and repeat what this individual's done, but I still think it was very irresponsible and somewhat reckless for himself. I have a 130-pound Dogo Argentino named Jedi. If you guys don't know what a Dogo Argentino is, think of like the largest pit bull you can imagine and make it 30% bigger. It's one of the most muscular dog breeds in the world. She's an absolute treat. She's wonderful. And she's a female, so she's got slightly smaller. The reason I'm telling you about this is this 130-pound dog has a solid bony head that's literally like a cinder block. And when you go down to play with her and she gets really excited, she comes up at you. And I can tell you with full authority that Jedi has knocked me unconscious twice. Okay? That fish that was in this video may not quite have been 130 pounds, but that fish could have definitely done damage, especially with that position. It could have broken your jaw. You could have bit your tongue. You could have, bit your tongue right off. You could have broken teeth. The bigger concern is that it could have possibly cracked your skull. Maybe not at that size, but a bigger one definitely could. Or that it could hit your nose in a certain way that could have pushed it up into your brain. That is really, really scary stuff. And I don't think any YouTube video of any kind is ever going to be worth risking that. I myself, a lot of you know, have worked with a lot of dangerous animals over the years. And I've had myself in situations in the wild where I got to be very cautious about how I find my escape plans and stuff, and working with crocodilians and in working with different venomous snakes and stuff like that. And that's what I've done for my life. You can do what you like doing. I just thought this needed to be safe. So let's have a little talk with my good friend Lee. Lee is actually, Mr. Lee Newman is the curator of tropicals at the Vancouver Public Aquarium. Lee, you got to tell me, you've seen the video. You got to tell me about this fish. You know, like I know a bit about the fish, but you have intimate knowledge about this fish. You've worked with them in the Amazon, and you've also worked with them for what, 31 years now at the Vancouver Public Aquarium. You know this fish really pretty much better than anybody. So
yeah, I mean, obviously they're big fish. They're you know, they're as powerful as they look. There's no question about that. And they got really hard heads. Like that sort of that bony look that they have isn't just for looks. They're actually quite bony in their heads. They don't have a lot of padding. So leaning, and then also they as you guys know, as you know, Chris, they have an upturned mouth. They feed mostly from the surface, so that's, you know, that's where they're looking for something to eat. Yeah. So, and then the other thing is animals like that tend to take their food and their feeding quite seriously. I mean, it's, you know, it's pretty much hardwired in there that, you know, the procurement of food is a big deal to them. These animals, you know, take their food very seriously. So we take all that into consideration here at the aquarium when we feed our Arapaima, is that we are respectful of their feeding mode from the surface. We're respectful of their sort of gape and suck kind of, I mean, if you haven't heard it, when they take food right from the surface, it sounds like, you know, somebody's Honda Civic just backfired in your driveway. And you know, it's almost a deafening sound, and that sort of should give you some idea of the power behind these fish.
Well, they're giant coiled muscle. They're just a solid coiled muscle. They're meant to be explode out of the water if they want.
However many feet long they are or meters long they are, that's how much muscle they have.
Yeah.
And anyway, so one of the things that, even, you know, as you mentioned, 30 years into a career working with these things, I never lean over them. In fact, we had we were moving one of our Arapaimas once, and we drained the exhibit down to just a couple of feet of water, so we were all in hip waders, and I just told everyone, do not lean over the fish, because their escape response, once we sort of crowd them into a corner, their escape response is only in one direction. That's up. So what happened? A 6-foot fish that was probably, you know, well over 100 pounds went vertical by about 3 or 4 feet, straight up out of the water from a standing start. Now, if someone had been leaning over that fish, yikes, you know, slam on your bottom jaw, break your jaw, maybe lose a few teeth, maybe the end of your tongue if you're in the middle of a sentence, you know, just a bad idea. So we tend to be very respectful.
Jeremy Wade, the gentleman that did that TV show, I think it was River Monsters, he did several episodes on Arapaima, but I remember one, he was in a farm somewhere like you say, in an enclosed environment with these animals, and these animals were flying out of the water, 3-4 foot Arapaima. One of those hits you in the chest, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
My concern, I think, watching the gentleman lean over was more the concern, like the way you can't, and it looks like he's wearing a blindfold, but looking at it a bit closer, I think the blindfold was pulled up in a way that he could actually see underneath it. I think.
Right.
And that might very well be. But that thing could hit you in a myriad of ways. It could have hit your brain, your nose, which could have pushed it up into your brain.
Yep.
So many facets of catastrophic results that could occur with that.
Yeah, and people, there's a thing that applies to many walks of life, and including handling and dealing with large animals, fish included, Arapaima included, is that everything is fine until something goes wrong.
Yes.
And of course, you never know when that something is going to go wrong. One day the fish just, you know, leaps higher than it should, or that it normally does for some weird reason. Just there's a reaction you're not anticipating, and things go south in a hurry. Yep. I think it's, I also think that, you know, there should be a caption, you know, don't try this at home, because Arapaima are in the pet trade, as we both know. And there are people that attempt to keep them. and it's just a bad idea. They get way too big. The resources that are required by an Arapaima are only met by, you know, the very, very few outside of public institutions. And yeah, they're just dangerous animals to be around.
Well, I know, like Rod over at Predatory Fins, the place where this video was filmed, he is, he spends top dollar on all his aquatics, all his filtration, everything. He has no problem building bigger to accommodate him. So I have no issues with him whatsoever. I honestly have no issues with the individual that did the filming per se. It was just more like, I think it needed mentioning the repercussions. There's another gentleman, Big Rich and Josh Price over in Ohio, that run Ohio Fish Rescue, and they've converted their indoor Olympic swimming pool. The entire thing had a pond company come in, and the bottom 6 or 7 feet of the pond was converted to a reverse filtration. Like it's a pond company. And you go there, and I've swam in there, and I'll put the link to the video up here. He has an Arapaima in there, Brutus, and Brutus is probably all of 4 feet then. He's probably all of 5 feet now. But it's in my opinion, in a much better environment than anybody could ever normally provide.
Yeah, I agree. And hats off to the folks that are able to provide these fish with sort of longer term care and homes, because a lot of people who buy them in the fish stores sort of find themselves quickly running out of resources to house the fish. So, I mean, yeah, hats off to these people that can actually provide what the animals need in a captive situation. I still wouldn't lean over an Arapaima though.
No, point taken. Well, as always, my friends, thank you, Lee, for sharing with me. So there you have it, my friends. That's just my take. It's just my opinion. It's the opinion of some of the experts and stuff like that. But, I always, when my channel, I always try to make sure that I'm putting forth a positive message, a message that is educational. And granted, my channel may not ever get to those sort of levels of some of these monster channels. I know full well that if I were in those shoes, I know that the world today wants excitement, wants that cliffhanger. They want that element of danger. They want to see people get pushed down the stairs. They want to see people get their arm bit off. That's just the way society is today. So no offense, again, I make sure, no offense whatsoever to the individual. I know this was not done in anything that was intended to hurt or harm anybody in any way, even the fish. And again, most utmost respect to my friend Rod over at Predatory Fins, where this video was filmed. This guy has done over and above for everything he ever does for his fish. So with that, my friends, thank you for watching. Take care.